Hello there, welcome to ShineTech's YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about Giardia Lamblia. So by the end of this video, you must be able to explain the morphology, life cycle and transmission, pathogenesis and symptoms, and finally the diagnosis of Giardia Lamblia. So to begin with, Giardia Lamblia is also called Giardia duodenalis or Giardia intestinalis, and it is a causative agent of giardiasis. It causes a variety of disturbances in the intestines, especially the upper duodenum and the gallbladder. And Giardia Lamblia exists in two forms, which are the cyst form and the trophozoite form. Okay, so now let's look at the morphology of Giardia Lamblia. I already mentioned that it exists in two forms, which is a trophozoite form and the cyst form. So a trophozoite, it is pear or heart-shaped, and it is bilaterally symmetrical. That is, it is bilaterally symmetrical. That is, if you cut it on the middle longitudinally, the parts which are this side are asymmetrical, are similar to the parts which are at the other side. And apart from that, it has 4 pairs of flagella, okay, and it has 2 nuclei. Apart from that, it also has a sucking disc which helps it to adhere to surfaces of the intestines, and then it also reproduces by longitudinal binary fission. So in this diagram here, this is the parasite Giardia Lamblia. It has 2 nuclei, as I've already said. So the trophozoite form has 2 nuclei, as you can see there, and it also has 4 pairs of flagella, which are, we have the first pair. This is the first pair. From there, we also have these other pairs of a flagellum. So that's all about the trophozoite form. Then the other form is the cyst form. So the cyst form is ellipsoid in shape, and it has a thick wall which helps it to be highly resistant, and it contains 4 nuclei. So this is the cyst form, which has 4 nuclei there. We have this wall which is thick, and then it is also highly resistant. So apart from this diagram, we also have this diagram here. It also shows the same parasite, a protozoa, which is a Giardia Lamblia. In this diagram, we have 4 pairs of flagella. As I've already said, we have this 2 pair, which is in the ventral border side, and then we also have this pair here, and we also have this pair which is there. So it has 4 pairs of flagella, and then the trophozoite, as we can see, it has 2 nuclei and a sucking disc, which can be clearly seen here. It has a sucking disc. Okay, so that's all about the morphology of Giardia Lamblia. Now let's look at the life cycle and transmission. So the life cycle begins by ingesting a cyst. You take a cyst in contaminated water, okay, then that cyst, after being taken, it will go into the stomach. Now in the stomach, the parasite is not destroyed due to the thick-walled cyst, which is also highly resistant. And in the duodenum here, it is going to existation is going to take place, and 2 trophozoites are going to be formed for every one cyst. So from each cyst, 2 trophozoites are going to be formed. And by the help of a sucking disc, those trophozoites are going to adhere to the microvilli of the duodenum, and they are going to start sucking the secretions of the duodenum. Then as the trophozoite flows in the intestines, when it reaches in the colony, as the stool hardens, dehydrates, then other cysts are going to be formed, which are now discharged in the stool to infect another individual. Okay, so there are animals which are major reservoirs of this parasite. Mainly we have dogs, sheep, and mice. Okay, as I've already said, the infectious stage is the cyst stage. An individual ingests a cyst in contaminated food or water, and then from there, excision is going to take place in the duodenum, and 2 trophozoites are going to be produced from one cyst. Then from there, the trophozoites will attach by the help of suckers, which we have already seen that diagram, to the lining of the epithelial. Then from there, the trophozoites will feed on mucosal secretion. By feeding or attaching to the mucosal secretion, they are going to block the gut lining. And one thing that you should take note here is that they do not invade the tissue. The tissues are not invaded, but they just disturb the lining. By so doing, absorption will be impaired. Okay, then from there, as the stool dehydrates in the colon, cysts are going to be formed and discharged to infect other individuals. So that's all about the life cycle of Giardia Lamblia. Now, talking about the pathogenesis, the trophozoites adhere to the intestine villi using a sucking disc, as I've already said, and it feeds on the mucosal secretions. And from there, they block the gut lining, but taking note that they do not invade the tissue. Okay, so now after the trophozoite has adhered or has attached to the gut lining, the duodenum will be irritated, and that will result in a low-grade inflammation. So this inflammation, since this trophozoite feeds on intestinal secretions, we are going to observe excessive mucus secretion, which will result in dehydration. Okay, so apart from this, we have said that we have low-grade inflammation. So this low-grade inflammation will result into production of lymphocytes and inflammatory cells, okay, which are some of them are neutrophils, are going to be produced there. So once these are produced and are produced in the gut, what will happen is that they are going to cause blockage of physical blockage of absorption in that site. Okay, so signs of and symptoms of Giardia Lamblia or giardiasis, we have dull epigastric pain and flatulence, and then from there we have foul smelling and diarrhea, and we also have large amount of mucus and fat in the stool, and then we also have anorexia, nausea, vomiting, and weight loss. Jaundice is also observed due to the blockage of production of gall by the gallbladder. Okay, so in a nutshell, we can say we have talked about the morphology, life cycle and transmission, pathogenesis and symptoms of Giardia Lamblia. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comment in the comment section below.